Okay, there. Hey guys.
Another day, another vlog.
Hi guys. So today we are going to be making these flour sack towels with our Cricut One Explorer. You can do this with really any Cricut. I just have like the oldest one and that's what I've been using. And we're also gonna make this fall sign. And I'm gonna have another one coming up again in probably like a week. That's gonna do another fall craft, which is etching on glass. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Have fun! So we will need a 10 by 10 board, some fake flowers, transfer paper, and vinyl. So the first step is you're gonna go into Cricut Design Space. You're gonna hit New Project, and you're gonna go over to the text button and type in whatever you want. We're gonna type in Hello Fall. And then we're gonna move it up to the left hand corner so that it's just a little bit easier to see and mess around with. We're gonna go into fonts. And if you go into system, it has all the fonts that you have on your computer along with their Cricut fonts. I already know which font I'm going to pick, so I selected it here. Now I'm going to ungroup it, which separates all the letters so that it's easier to bring them together since they're cursive. If you don't want to ungroup it and bring them together, there's also a button on the top where you can fix the spacing. But I feel like it doesn't work as well because they kind of get like too bunched up together and you can't separate them enough so that it looks decent. It just looks all scrunched up. And then now we can just bring all of the letters together so that it looks nice and flowy. Also, so the font that I picked, I got it from this website called dafont.com. It's dafont.com. And it has a bunch of free fonts that you can download onto your computer. And the font that I chose was called Lovely Day. So now that all of our letters are where we want them to be, we're going to group the words back together so that we can move them around a little bit easier. And I'm going to go ahead and add a little heart in there. It's just the left bracket. You're going to type the left bracket in your keyboard and it's going to make a heart. Since the size of sign that we have is a 10 by 10, I'm going to go ahead to the top where the width and the height section is and put in 4.75. That way it's small enough that we can just kind of like put it right in the middle of the sign where we want it to be and it's not too big or too small. Now that we have the size figured out, we're going to go to the bottom right hand corner where it says attach. And this is important just so that when you go to make it, you get to see everything in print preview, kind of. Move it where you want it to be, but just in case you didn't like something, you could go back and fix it. So now that we have everything where we want it to be, we're going to go back down to the right hand corner where it says weld, and that is going to make sure that all of the letters flow together instead of them being choppy. If you don't hit this button, you'll be able to see where you moved the letters together because you're going to be able to see the cuts. So now we're going to take our vinyl, and you can see that when you peel it apart, the shiny side is going to be the side that you put up. I cut this vinyl to be about 5 by 5 just so that it's a little bit larger than what we measured on the computer, which was 4.75. Now that we have everything on the mat, we're going to make sure that it is set to vinyl. And we are going to load the mat in. We have 2 on here because we are making an extra one. We're going to hit the arrow button that loads everything into the Cricut. And now we're going to hit the cut button. Now that everything's cut, we're going to hit the arrow again, which is going to unload the mat. So one of the most important tools is having this little pick. It looks like a dental pick. You can get these at Hobby Lobby or Michael's, but we got these ones at Harbor Freight because they were a lot cheaper. So now with this tool, we are going to peel that very, very top layer off so that the only thing that sticks to that bottom paper are the letters that we have. That top layer pulled off, we're going to start weeding everything out, which means that we're going to start taking the pieces out that didn't come up with the layer when we pulled it off. Now we're going to take our transfer paper, and I'm just going to pull up like maybe a quarter of it. It's easier to stick that sticky side down right on top of your vinyl instead of taking the whole sheet off, because if you do that, it just makes it harder to get all the bubbles out. So I just line it up with the top of my vinyl square. And I get a card, and I just start to press it on there as hard as I can over and over again, just to make sure that we get all of the air bubbles out. If you don't get the air bubbles out when you peel the transfer paper off, the letters aren't going to stick. Flat, we're going to carefully peel the vinyl off of the mat that we have. And this is what it looks like when you peel it off. Now we're going to carefully pull off that top layer, and you're going to see that all of our letters are going to be on the transfer paper. Make sure that you don't do this too quickly, because if you do, some or all of the letters can get stuck and they'll rip off. Kind of like this other one that we did, where you can clearly see that this is not what it's supposed to say. So now we're going to take our board, and we are going to get our design, and we're going to just put it wherever we want to put it. I kind of do it a little bit to the left middle, so that on the right side I can have flowers going up and to the left. Now that we have everything nice and stuck on the board, we are going to pull the transfer paper up. This is also something that you want to do very slowly and carefully, because if you don't, there's a risk that everything could just rip like the other one did. It will stick to the paper and it won't transfer onto the board. I've done this before where it doesn't transfer onto whatever surface I'm using, and it's a lot harder to get it where you want it to be without it getting crumpled up. And now you just take your hot glue gun and start gluing the flowers however you would like them. with an iron, some flour sack towels, and heat transfer or iron-on vinyl. With this project, it's going to be important that you select the mirror image. If you don't do that, once everything is cut out and you start ironing it on, it's going to be backward. With iron-on projects, you're going to make sure that you want the shiny side down, not up. Instead of selecting vinyl, we're going to select iron-on. To start ironing, we're going to put our design on where we want it to be, and we're going to make sure that we put an extra towel over it just so that we don't burn the plastic, because if you don't do this and you just are ironing onto it, the plastic is going to start crinkling up and it's going to melt and it's going to ruin your design. As you can see, doing this with a regular iron is very time consuming, and it takes a lot of pressure. When you have something like a heat press, Cricut actually has their own heat press brand, or you can get one on Amazon, which is a lot easier to use than an iron. They are kind of on the pricey side, but if you're going to be doing this, whether it's with shirts or towels or any type of fabric, I think it's definitely worth it to get a heat press. I don't have one, my mom has one, and it's definitely worth the money rather than using an iron. So now we put the towel over it just one more time after we've torn the paper off, just to make sure everything is nice and stuck on there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions or if you have any suggestions on what you would like to see made with the Cricut, I'm willing to try pretty much anything new, and I'll definitely be making more of them. So if you guys like this video, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get updates on our next video that's coming out, which is going to be about etching on glass. See ya! Are you recording this?
No.
Nacho!